Hi, and welcome to the Monetize Your Mission Mastermind for Monday, December 8th, 2025. And today we are going to talk about creating offers that your clients actually want so that they're going to feel silly saying no. And how do we really do this? Um, so I think let me just come over here. I wanted to go around the room and just get a feel for where everybody feels like they're at with their business. And let me know if you're doing Substack and school, just school, or you're not doing school at all and you're just like, we'll call it school curious or Substack curious, landing on the sober curious theme. Um, so let's just start with you, Karen, because you're the first one up
Okay.
in my screen.
All right. Well, hi, I'm Karen Langston. I use Substack. I need to get back into YouTube eventually, but forget that for right now. I already have a podcast. I've been doing it for a year. Yeah, because the year before I just narrated all of my articles and then decided to do a podcast.
Mhm.
I have not got any bandwidth yet for school. I figure I'll just do everything else first.
Mhm.
Business wise, it's kind of a transitional thing. I'm just not sure how to integrate it all, but so I'm sort of in an integrative transitional, I think, period. Did that answer your questions?
Perfectly.
Okay, good.
We're just trying to get a quick pulse. How about you, Jason? I know you have a school community.
Right.
I
So
love
yeah.
your
So we've got
community.
school. We're all in on school, but new to Substack. Haven't started Substack and looking to start a podcast and YouTube this coming year. But I've been doing community for a couple of years and workshops.
Perfect. And Christina?
I am brand new, sort of, well, to Substack and also school, and have started a community. I'm a health coach and I also have crochet designs out there. So I'm just trying to grow, get more one on one clients and eventually do a group coaching as well. To have the offer out there on my school community, building it up over there, and I want to start a podcast that's coming up here.
Okay, Kathy? And your pictures here. But you're not unmuted. don't, I don't know that I can
Here we go.
unmute
Here we
you.
go. I got it. I got
Okay.
it. Okay. So I'm working on a podcast too, and we just got my page started on Substack, and I'm playing around and trying to learn my way around school, which is a little difficult, but I'm trying.
Good for you. All
Yeah.
right, Tracy. And oh wait, what's your topic? What do you
Oh, my topic?
Mhm.
My topic is basically detoxing vaccines and helping new moms navigate the vaccine schedule.
Okay. And Tracy?
It might
You're
be Tracy and Puck because he's sitting here screaming at me. But so I've had a podcast called Folkloring for I just passed the 2-year anniversary. So of course, what did I decide to do? Start a second podcast, and that's called Dark Lore. And I have 2 episodes of that out. And so I have a school, but I haven't started the community yet. And I'm like sold on that. Not quite sure about Substack yet, although I think that that's going to change very soon. um, and so I am looking like my podcasts are about folklore. My
Mhm.
book, which comes out in February, is about sort of the scientific basis and psychology of magic. And I talk about, is magic real? So that's kind of what my brand is. And my offerings, I want to be offering classes. I want to be doing presentations about the book, both of those about the book. And then I'm also like going to be doing like downloadables that again are in the same theme. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. We had a great conversation last week. Stephanie, you're up. Welcome to the community too.
Hi, thank you. Great to be here. I'm looking away because I am driving to get my son from school. So
All
thanks
good,
for
all
this
good.
flexibility there. I am a resilience and leadership coach. I talk a lot about mindset, and I'm a bit of a science nerd. So I talk about the neuroscience of ancient wisdom and designing your life from the inside out. And so I'm all in on Substack. I'm part of a few school communities. I don't yet have my own, and I'm just venturing into the world of podcasts. Not my own. I'm going to start by guest podcasting first, and then see how that goes. So it's all relatively new to me. I only launched my business like a year and a half ago. So yeah, I'm just here to learn and explore.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we're super excited to have you with us. And okay, so we're going to talk about the biggest mistake people make usually. And I made this mistake too. Okay, so I'm not like pointing fingers at anybody, but we start out with something that we're very passionate about, and we think, oh God, this would be great. And we run up and create something that we just know is going to be so good. And then we try to find people who want it. And then we we fail miserably and we're like, oh, why didn't anybody want this? I must suck as a human being. I maybe you guys don't feel that way, but that's where I go. It's like I spent all this time creating this thing. So we're gonna look at just switching some stuff around a little bit to to make this to make it less likely that we're gonna have that I must be terribly flawed because I can't come up with something for my my people. I know they need fixing, and I've fixed myself, but how am I going to get it to them, and who am I going to get it to them? Who am I going to help? And that's really the first place that we need to start is who are our people? Usually there's somebody you were not that long ago, which is why you went to all the trouble to fix that problem that you were suffering with really badly. And so you know what that feels like. Sometimes we forget because now we're in a different place and we're like, oh, everybody knows that. But trust me, they don't. Everybody doesn't know what you know where you're at right now. And so that's where we're going to look for the problem that we're going to solve. We're going to put ourselves back in that space where we needed help and try to imagine what that one thing is that if somebody came along and said, hey, here's the lifeline for you, we would grab on, we wouldn't care what it cost. Is this making sense? Okay. So that is the solution that you're going to provide. And if you will do these three steps, I promise you, you will fit, your passion will be part of it. You will be passionate about it because really you just want to help this group of people who is suffering with something that you were suffering from before get this result that you've already gotten. Tracking? Okay. So not everybody's at the same place in the market. So when we're looking at finding your market, the people that need your help solving the problem that you're going to solve for them, there's different levels that they're going to be at as you're coming through the interaction with people. You're going to meet people that know a little bit, You're going to meet people that know nothing. You're going to meet people that are a little bit further along. They have a lot of ideas. You're going to meet people that you may meet people that are ahead of you. Those people you want to collaborate with. But you know, there's a place for everybody, but knowing who specifically you're really best suited to help, not fix. So where my mind is most of the time, they're not broken. They just need empowerment. Trying to get into that. And there's going to be emotional drivers for those people, and they're going to identify in a certain way, and they're going to have language that they're using to express what they're struggling with. And you want to use that language to help them be able to see themselves in the situation that you're going to help them get out of, so that, and then paint the picture for where they could be by following your process. You don't ever want to talk about your process. You just want to paint the picture of where they are, and a lot of your content needs to be around that. You know, I ran into this person who was struggling with XYZ, and they were having this problem and this problem and that problem, and I solved it. And give them like the first little step into solving it. Give them a quick win with your content, and then to get the rest of the information, come and join my community. Come subscribe to my Substack. Better yet, have them go to one place where you can have a call with them, a chat with them. And this is not a sales call, it's a consult or an audit or some way where you can see where they're at so you can best help them figure out what the best next step for them is, whether it's working with you or with a resource that you have. Or, if you can't help them, you can't help them, and you need to be honest with them about that too. Because you're not here to help everybody, but you can help a lot of the people that you will attract to call you. They're calling you because they want your help. They're seeing that, yes, this person's talking about the things that I'm struggling with. Is it making sense? Okay. We have questions yet? I'm, I'm, I do better when we have a conversation. We're not just like having chill talk all the time. So, we want to identify the desires that they're already feeling, and this is where the magic meets the psychology. We want to really target in our content what people complain about. And then we want to also target in our content what people fantasize about. What they complain about is the thing that they're struggling with. The thing that they fantasize about is like, God, it would be great if. And then we want to look at what they're already buying from other people. And what are the patterns that you hear from people in your DMs, in the comments that they leave on the content that you do create? When you're talking to people on your podcast, or comments in the comment section from your podcast, or in sessions with clients that you already have. What is the next thing that they need? So we create a customer journey, not just like a one-off thing. And if we can think like in terms of we want to introduce them to get a small win, then we want to give them a bigger win, and then we want to really help them get to the next level. And there's a process for that that's clear for them to follow. So what do let's just kind of go around the room a little bit and ask the question, what do you wish someone would just help you solve already? What problem do you have that you just wish could magically disappear from your life? We'll start with you, Karen.
That's a hard one. I don't know.
When it comes to your business, let's just put it there.
Oh, hiring all the right people to do all the mundane stuff so that I could just create. I mean, that would be the ultimate. That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Jason?
Similar. And for me, what came up was having vetted VAs. Somebody goes through already and vets the VAs that not only that I can use, but that I can then share with my clients or my community.
I actually know people that do that.
Right?
What's
Exactly.
a VA? I don't know what a VA
Oh,
is.
virtual assistants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Karen said, the people that can do some of the mundane
Yes,
work.
yes,
So,
I need that too.
right?
Well, Kathy, you're already up.
Okay, yeah, so, yeah, just help with the computer, solving the computer problems. And just, you know what it is? It's like you go somewhere and then I get afraid to hit something because everything's going to disappear. You know, it's like that old school, like you hit it and it's, oh my God, it's gone. So that's my thing. So I'm very cautious because of that. So that would be great if I can magically learn everything. So, but I'm gonna maybe take a computer course, Jill.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah,
really
I'm
good.
looking into computer courses so I can at least take something and, and learn a little more.
Okay.
Yeah,
So if
that's what
you
working in a jail for 20 years does. No computer skills.
All right, Tracy, how about you?
I think for me, the biggest problem that I'd want to solve is like a current feeling of overwhelm. Like I
Mhm.
have so much to do. And so I do a little here and a little there. And I'm just like not getting anything moved forward. So I don't know if that's a focus problem. I don't know if that's just um, habits from when I was writing the book, because you're not going to write it all at once, right? So I had a
Mhm.
bunch of other stuff going on, and I got in the habit of saying, this hour's for this, then I'm going to do that. And now I'm just like dabbling in things without a real plan.
Okay.
It's a crazy world we're living in.
Christina, how about you?
For me, it's always how people are always like, how do I meal plan and how can I create a system so it's not as crazy during the week? Or for me, also losing weight but not losing muscle at the same time. So
That's a real struggle.
mhm.
It's something that needs addressing. Stephanie, how about you?
Building systems, I think, would be a good one. I do also, like Tracy, feel sometimes overwhelmed, and I want to, instead of just doing a task, I want to build a system so that I can be consistent and be able to focus in on my zone of genius. So yeah, I would say that.
Okay. And DG, how about you? DG?
So I'm unsure of, oh, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. I'm unsure of what to actually say. I think it's because as someone who I live with disability, and so I don't really feel that there's something that anyone else can truly take off of my plate. It's just trying to navigate how best to work with myself each day, if that makes sense.
Makes total sense. And yes, it makes total sense. I know what you're struggling with, and it's just the having grace for yourself to get what you're going to get done and not feeling less than because you didn't. And to be honest, I think a lot of us struggle with that. It's not just you. Okay. So Hold on. My notes were stuck. Uh, let's look at the I would buy this today signals. So when you're looking at your communities or at your Substack or at your um at your in the comment sections and when you're interacting with people that are looking to you for guidance, what kinds of questions are they constantly asking? And as new people come into your periphery, are they coming up with the same sorts of questions? They may phrase it differently, but um, are there energy spikes when certain topics are mentioned? And do you find people asking you, do you offer this? Can you help me with this? And and should I hire someone for this? And if you can look at some of the patterns that develop in your communities or on your Substack comments or notes, the ones that seem to like get the most interaction, um, those will give you clues to what to use or to what to create for an offer. And so, what we want to do is we want to make the offer set up in a way where you've got the value first. We want to tell them what they're going to get and like the dream outcome that they could experience, and we want to give it to them with the least amount of drag, like they're more likely to actually accomplish this if they do it in a specific way without having anything that interferes with their ability to realize these results. And they don't have to give up the thing that they really love to do, um, but they can still everybody wants to do the same thing that they're doing now and get different results. And the way that you can make this possible for them is to have them have to make the least amount of changes in their life to get the result that they want. Everybody recognizes that they do have to change something, but the more that they have to change, the less likely it is that they're going to get the result that they're seeking. We can just even look at my dad for this. You know, he wants to be cancer free, but he's going to have to give up some things that he really likes to do and a little bit of his freedom until he gets through this so that he can get the result that he wants. Um, and you and it's not like you have to do this, but if you want this other result, this if we can make if we can make the pain as little as possible in terms of changing, the more likely it is that we're going to have our clients have success with things that we're trying to help them get success with. And they'll see this when you're talking about the offer, when you make your calls to action. It needs to highlight that just a small shift is going to give you a big result. Don't You're not telling them what that small shift is. That's that's the behind the curtain stuff. But you are letting them know that it's just going to be a small shift and they're going to get this big result. Things that help them understand that they're going to likely perceive that they're going to get this change are like roadmaps and templates, accountability um, setups, support, fast wins, and community momentum. Help them see that they're not in it alone and that there are other people that are all on the same path that they're on. It's one of the reasons I love communities so much and why I'm so big on Substack and school is because they are communities of people, and the person that creates it doesn't have to know everything, but they can connect you with other people that might get you the result that you're looking for. So things that you can help them produce or perceive that they're getting a quick return or a quick win is make the path super simple. Break it down into very small, actionable steps, and don't try to give them like everything to get from where you were to where they want to be in like 9,643 simple steps. You just want to get them from point A to point B quickly. And a lot of times, less is more because people don't have, you need, this is again where you need to have a conversation with them to figure out where they are in the process. So if you have some milestone um, courses, connection points when you're creating your offers, then you know where to insert your potential clients because they already have like they're not starting at ground zero, so they don't have to start at ground zero. They can jump ahead to the second step because that's they already have the beginning stuff. It's being able to fit your clients in to get the big result that they want where they need to be fit in. And this, if you will set it up this way, it will allow you to align your passion for helping people get results with the way that people want to receive this information and they want to take action with you. Okay, so let's go around the room and talk about what what you've got going on now and how you think you could. Let's go with who's your ideal client? Where's your market? What what are they craving? Ask that question again, not for you, but what would your ideal client like? They're just like they need this answer so bad. Let's go with that. We'll start with you, Karen. Do you want me to start with DG first? All right, DG. We're gonna go backwards this time. Karen's tired of me picking on her.
Okay. Well, I was hoping I'd have a little more time to think about it, but I
What is
think,
what is the
oh,
main thing that you help people with? Let's start there.
um, well, visibility. I think that that's
Okay.
truly what it is at the core.
Okay. Um, and who is your ideal client? Who is the person that really needs your help with that?
Well, there are people who are um, entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
more specifically, I think solopreneurs who are navigating business, especially online business, digital business, um, alone, um, subject matter experts, people uh, who have something valuable to share and knowledge that can uh, truly help others,
Hmm.
but they don't know how to get their message out.
Um, and I know one of your offers. So, excuse me. We're gonna have you talk about it a little bit. Um, in that, and I think it's a really good one because you move people in your system from uh, being able to contribute to a bigger package that you're doing. And I think that you're offering something the next step for them. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think you're right in line with what you should be doing. And do you have a VIP offer? Like something that's even more like more personal with you or that provides them with even a more comprehensive roadmap?
Well, I have a school community and I do have a VIP tier. I haven't
Mhm.
launched it yet officially, because I'm trying to be sure that what I put in that package is what I think will be the best setup. And I haven't quite pinpointed, because I'm transferring everything that I'm doing over into school
Mhm.
now. So that part of figuring out what to include where is, I still haven't quite got it together.
I think that with what you're doing, you're on the right track, and that if you're already doing something that's higher ticket, you could probably just move it right in there. But have people have a conversation with you about which area is the best for them. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It makes sense. I'm just at I feel like almost that, even though I've had my community for a few months now,
Hmm.
I still feel like I'm at the beginnings of fine tuning the way I want the setup to be. Um, so that's really
I,
like that's been my only delay, I think.
I know from experience that often it's easier to just start making offers and just know that there's going to be people that are going to say no, but make them anyway. And make it available to people, because if it's not available, people can't buy it. Eh, and you may find that there's just going to be somebody that's going to come along and say, "Oh yeah, I got to have that." And they'll buy it and you can build it as you go. All right, Jason, you're up next. And you can put your 2 cents in there.
I had a little bit of a question around the visibility,
Mhm.
because I'm curious, and Miss DG, maybe you have seen this already. Are they seeing that they're aware of their problem with visibility? Or are they wanting to get more people into their ecosystem? Are they wanting to make more money, but they don't realize the problem is visibility? Because I think, Jill, that's kind of what you were talking about before. Is
Mhm.
sometimes we get in our mind, we know what the problem is. They need to be more visible, but they might think, oh, I've just got an issue with getting more people into my world, and the solution is through raising the visibility. So, Miss DG, I was just curious if they're aware that they have a problem with visibility and that's the way they're entering into your ecosystem, or are they unaware that they've got an issue with visibility, but they think it's a different issue?
Well, I tend to call it different things because I know that online, business owners may be thinking with different words. So um, I don't always say visibility. I can say something like followers, listeners, viewers, leads. All of this has to do with how visible you are and not being invisible to the audiences that will actually connect with your message and need what you are bringing into the world through your business, your services, and your products. Does that answer your question,
Yeah,
Jason?
I think so. And it really, I think, draws attention to what Jill was mentioning around, like, they might be thinking they need a bigger audience. And the solution for them is the visibility, but they're like, oh, I want more followers, or I might want more likes, or more attention, or more leads. So I think that's a great
It's
time. Yeah.
I because I'm in that same space, DG, the problem is they need clients. That is the problem. And they solve that problem by getting visible. And in my case, I help them leverage Substack in school. You help them with your radio show and creating content. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, of course, I think the core problem for all business owners is needing clients.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't typically talk directly about, well, you need clients, so you need to do this, and
Hmm.
therefore you need visibility. I just know that the right kind of visibility will give them the right kind of client, um, if that makes sense. I don't know if
It does make sense, but do you get the difference? Because they know in their mind, if you say you need premium clients, they're going to be like, yeah, I need premium clients. They're going to
do
be
you
like,
think
can
that
you help me get premium clients? Because that's what
do you
I
think that
want.
changing the, I guess, the messaging would
Mhm.
possibly help? Because see, I'm trying to avoid. My thing is that for me particularly, I'm trying to avoid um, attracting people who are so focused on. I'm really like anti hustle bro culture and
Mhm.
certain things that seem to have been very popular regarding the way that people should do business online. And so I'm really trying to avoid that those kinds of talking points because I want to appeal to a certain kind of audience.
But in in trying to be softer, gentler, you're you are muting yourself. And it's why, it's why the hustle bro culture developed because it works. You know, Alex Hormozi has a work ethic that's insane. I don't want to work that hard, but and I think a lot of us don't. But we still want to provide value in the marketplace, though we do still need to be out there using the words that our clients need to hear. Like they need to hear that I know you need clients. I also know that the reason that you're not getting clients is because you don't know how to generate traffic or talk to people about what you're offering or sharing being visible. Taking part in things where you're exposing yourself, creating content, all the ways that we put ourselves out there, that is under the umbrella of visibility. Is that Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. It does. And thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Jason.
Yeah, and just to tie in on what you were saying there, Jill, I think the differentiation that might help with some of the messaging, Miss DG, is around like you could still say attract clients, like you need more clients, but you can do it without the hustle. Like
Yeah.
that then separates you from that all the bro hustle that's saying you got to work harder, work and do all that. So
Mhm.
you can still mention the word that the people are looking for as the clients, like Jill was saying, and then just add in your differentiation that it's, oh, without the hustle, it's being authentic, it's showing up, as yourself and not having to hide behind, mask or something along the lines of that. Because that's and I speak to that because that's very similar to the people that I look to help, which Jill knows, and even I do love one of the aspects of having community, and Jill, you can attest to this as well, is that you can poll the community and say, what do you think your biggest problem is? Because
Mhm.
I ran that poll, and it's crazy for my community, which is all coaches, transformational entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
and 90% of them said it's leads, it's getting in the leads. And when it comes down to it, it's not just about the leads. They have a messaging issue. For me, it's all about soul alignment. So I know that if they're not doing what's in alignment with themselves, they're going to have a hard time showing up and being visible. It's not going to land with the clients, all these things. But if I lead with, you need to be soul aligned, they're going to say why. And they have, in some of my offers. So that, yeah, I've definitely learned that over time. So I appreciate that. So Jill, guide me. What next?
So you covered who your market is.
Yeah.
It's solo line client or solo line entrepreneurs and coaches mainly. Um, what are your offers?
So we've got the a free community.
Mhm.
And then from there, we're just getting ready to add tiers in the free community. Before that, it was directly to a paid community.
Mhm.
And that's where they were, where we invited them in to build out the actual business in a solo line way. But we're continuing to learn, better ways to message that and what they're really looking for. People, so one of my challenges has been I focus so much on the soul alignment that it's kind of, I offer a buffet of options. So as
Mhm.
opposed to just Substack, it's, yeah, we can do whatever attraction method you want that's in alignment with you. And that is a harder sell. It's a much easier to say this is cut and dry. And yet for me, I know I don't like to just box everyone in a cookie cutter style, but it sells a lot better. It's easier to market when you do that. So I'm finding ways to add that in so that I do have a roadmap that goes through 9 steps and continuing to get or give them more clarity around those 9 steps of what that looks like. But it wouldn't be right now. It's still not. You have to do LinkedIn, you don't have to do social media marketing, or you have to do YouTube. There's a little bit broader of opportunity there or options there, if that makes sense.
Are you open for a little
Yeah,
suggestions?
I'm always so.
So you can give them the smorgasbord in the classroom as your like pick three.
Mm-hmm.
One's your main one and then two backup ones. Get really good at that one, but they get to pick because you have the expertise to help them really get started with all of them. But don't let them do five of them or 10 of them
Yeah.
because that's where people derail. And honestly, that's why I just like we're gonna do Substack and we're gonna really lean into podcasts because I love those too and I know how to make those work. But I know all the other platforms too. I've been around the block. Um, but if you're just like, I can show you how to streamline your content and then just put that part because you got to have traffic. I mean, you don't have traffic, you don't have business,
Yeah.
right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for me, I still make them choose one, but the problem is I give them the option of, choose between these 7 instead of these 2. And I don't know if problem or that's one of the areas that, yeah, I'm looking at dialing or changing up the messaging around.
I wonder if you couldn't, and this might be weird, but have like when you have your conversation with people to move them into like a more VIP
Mhm.
section. And I would do like Premiere would be like these are the steps, and then you really need to figure out this traffic thing on your own, or you need to become a VIP person. And then when you're having the VIP conversation, then it's more like you can have your 7 things, but they're going to be 7 different classroom things, and you're only going to open it the one that they're going to focus on for that person because you can do that in school.
Yeah, I really like that. Because back to what you were asking, yeah, I've got the free and then the paid group coaching and community, and then a one-on-one VIP beyond that. So
Yeah, I would
that's,
just take that whole traffic piece because you got to have all the other pieces and then you apply the traffic. The traffic is really the last thing. And if you move that over to VIP, then you'd have much more control and they'd actually get results that way.
yeah, yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. And I love that you mentioned that traffic is the last thing. Just as a side note, I think so many people focus on traffic. Got to get the leads, but they don't take care of the foundation.
Yeah. The foundation is like so crucial. If you don't know which direction you're pointing your people in, they're going to scatter all over the place and it's going to be like herding cats. All right, Tracy, let's chat with you. And you're over there going, I'm writing a book. I don't have any freaking clue how that relates to me.
Um, okay, so I guess my ideal customer would be people who are not necessarily current practitioners of any kind of spirituality, but they're curious about it and open to it, and particularly open to some of the more mystical aspects of spirituality. Not going to go so far as to say occultism, but they want to experience it, and they don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I said earlier, I don't have my offerings developed yet, but I want to do the classes and I want to do the downloadables, which, and like you were saying earlier, it's like roadmap kind of thing. Because part of my premise is that all magic, all spirituality, all of it, all religion was made up. And just because somebody made it up a really long time ago doesn't make it any more valid than something somebody made up, yesterday, right? And so I see so many people who are trying to get into this and they'll get these books and be like, how to, here's how you do spells, here's a recipe book of spells. And it's like, oh my God, you don't need to do all that, right? And it's a big joke in the community. It's like when you start out, people are like, they've got their crystals and their grids set up, and they got the candles and they got the herbs and they got all this. And then like a witch who's a practitioner who's been around for a while is just like, oh, I curse you, like that's the big joke in the sort of pagan community. And so, like people are like, I don't know what I need. I don't know what I need to do. I don't know what's the right way to magic, right? And the answer is there isn't one. And so those are the people are um they're like magic curious, you know? Um
That's a great place to start to
mhm,
introduce them.
yeah.
So if you're going to do freemium community, you start with the
Mhm,
Magic Curious.
mhm,
And maybe you have Paganism 101 as your premium thing, and you walk people through the various aspects of the angles.
mhm,
And you could do it as an intensive. Maybe you meet once a week. Maybe it's something that you do ongoing for your
mhm,
premium community. Y'all get together and you decide what you're going to intend for or whatever magic thing you're going to do. The magic of the week. Um, that's your premium community and you charge them for that. And then if they really are interested in becoming a practitioner and really understanding how it works,
mhm,
that's a VIP container, and you get to decide how that looks, whether it's one-on-one or a group community, and that could be however you want it to be. Maybe it's a course, maybe it's a course in conversations, but that's a way to move people from curious. And there are a lot of people that are curious, and your
mhm.
content could call out, that would be a perfect article, what you just talked about, because
Yeah,
there's so many people out there that are curious. They want to
right.
know, do I need 47 crystals, and is it this the right candle, and how do you make those magic circles? Do I even need a magic circle? And because we don't know, but we're interested.
Right, right.
Even
And
even
the
really religious people are sort of interested. It's like
oh, I
maybe
know,
don't want to practice it, but
I know a lot of Christian witches, so that's really that's a thing. And if you look at the Kabbalah, like Judaism is steeped in mysticism.
magic, yes.
So religious people, it's they can just as easily be a witch as other like pagan flavored witches. Um, but yeah, and I think that you know, what I typically counsel people to do is like, what appeals to you? Like, start
Mhm.
there, I'm
Yep.
not gonna, like, I don't, a sea hag, right? But there are people who do. They love the beach. They love the ocean. They connect to it. I connect more to the forest, right?
Hmm.
And I do a lot of gardening, a lot of cooking. So, if I have to define myself, which I hate to do because I don't really consider myself a witch per se, but if I have to, I'd say like, I'm a kitchen witch or I'm a green witch, right?
Hmm.
And because those are just the things I gravitate to. And so that would be a really easy way to start people off.
Hmm. Yep. All of those things. All right, Karen, back to you.
That's funny. I made it back just in time. Okay, so I've worked one-on-one with clients forever, so I want to move away from that. I'm burnt out from working with clients. I have finished my book, Go With Your Gut Beyond Menopause,
Mhm.
but I'm focusing on women who are over 50. But I seem to be attracting women under 50 because they're all freaked out about menopause. And I really do not want to move in that direction. So I was thinking about a signature program. So if somebody read the book, they could then, follow those steps. Because that's typically how it goes. You get the book and then you find the signature program. Because the one thing I am learning these days is, man, people do not want to work one-on-one. They don't want to be on video. They don't want to talk to you in real life. I'm even seeing practitioners now who will do a 15-minute video recording and send it to them. I'm like, have we really shifted that so far into the dark that that's what we're doing now? So I'm really looking at doing a lot of digital things. So please don't ask me to poll my people since I have had a newsletter for over 15 years and polls just have never worked for me. I even reprimanded my readers one time. I said, I don't understand this. I give you guys so much free content. You can't even find the time to just answer yes or no. Then I got 50 comments. That was the only way. So I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore either. So my book is about of course I talk about hormones and I talk about it's mostly about cognition because that's what most women are worried about is their memory, their hormones. I touch on weight gain. I try not to because again, I'm sorry, I've been a practitioner forever and I'm just so over the whole weight loss thing. And I'm sorry for whoever said that they were into the weight loss stuff. It's just like, it's very boring to me because if you would just look at your gut, you lose weight. I mean, but people, and the problem is I'm trying to convert people from not looking at hormones to looking at their gut, that, your cognition, and I go through the book and that's what I talk about,
Mhm.
when you start looking at your nutritional deficiencies and look at your gut microbiome, there's a lot of things that you can do. And I'm very much trying to get women to understand that they are not a lab rat, they are not a medical experience, they are not a disease that needs to be controlled by medication. So that's where I'm coming from. So I feel like I have a bit of an upward climb because of all of the medications that are coming out that are only treating symptoms, blah blah blah. So half of me wants to come out with like a signature program, but I don't know what that signature program is because I truly believe in what you are saying. I'm old school. Nobody wants the big programs anymore. And I'm also at the point where I just want to start giving away all of my protocols into little digital downloads. But is that going to cause um what do you call it, overwhelm? Because I don't want to overwhelm people. I truly believe in having just, little,
You
like
need
you
a
said,
school community, and you need to put those little downloads in your school community. And if you have a freemium organization, the way you could, what I'm hearing is you're not broken because as women, we're told we're broken like all the way
all
through
the
our
time.
lives.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with you. You need something.
Yeah.
Um, rather than congratulations, you're
Yeah.
growing up.
Welcome to midlife. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Um, and I think it would allow space for those people that are interested in learning about what's coming in a community. And it's a place where you can put them where you're not having to deal with them one on one, and they could go to your classroom and they could get small little bits of information, and maybe you have some of it available for free. Some of it is available for the people that are
Mhm.
getting closer to being in menopause, or maybe they're just entering into menopause. Those people probably need to be premium members, and maybe you have like a weekly call with them where they can talk to each other and they can find out, hey, you're not alone. We're
Okay.
Other people are experiencing these things you're experiencing too. Because that's really one of the things that this could be me personally, but when I went through menopause, it was like you feel like you're the only one. And
Yes.
yeah, everybody laughs about the hot sweats, but it's a problem. It disrupts
Yeah.
your sleep, and if you
Yeah.
can't sleep, you're like all over the place. And I know that gut stuff really does help with that.
Hmm.
But it allows you a container where everybody can talk and you can give some tips and tricks for helping them get manage it and how to do that. And then have a VIP container for people that are really struggling. And we all have people that some people sail through menopause, other people are just like, don't let me get near the shovel because I'm going to bury somebody.
Right.
You know?
But how do I see? And that was the reason why I called my book Go With Your Gut Beyond Menopause, because what I'm finding, or maybe it's because I'm attracting, I'm not sure. I feel like there is such a huge saturation of practitioners who are looking at perimenopause and menopause. And I feel like there's so many of them. And then once you go through menopause, it's like nothing. You hear nothing. So I'm trying to really attract beyond menopause. I want to work
Mhm.
with the women who have already gone through menopause. And, because now their shift is, breast cancer, um, I'm just heart disease, the things that are not being talked enough about. And I feel that they're not being talked about because the pharmaceutical industry right now is focused on women's hot flashes because they have a drug for that now. And then they have a drug for, oh, they're putting them on anti-anxiety medications because that will help with the anxiety of the hot flushes, that kind of a thing. So what I'm trying, and again, maybe I am wrong. Maybe I am
Shorten their
supposed
lives
to,
by 10 years,
oh
but
my gosh, yes,
It's
yes,
horrible,
yes,
horrible.
yes. So I'm trying to, and again, I really believe too that when it comes to working with people, that it really comes down to your age. Like I'm 50 something something, and I am not going to appeal to a 20-year-old. You know what I mean? So I
Mhm.
just feel like, okay, if I'm 50 something something and I'm headed towards 60, I feel like I should be staying with my age bracket because I am a real person who has gone through this and is still going through this, as opposed to somebody who's in their 40s. Would
It's the people in the 40s that are going to be attracted to you though,
okay,
because they're just a little behind you and they need the information that you already
sure.
have.
I
But
see. That
you
makes
will
sense.
also drag in, people like me because I'm way beyond that. And I
Yeah.
I'm still interested in, I have some wisdom to share with the younger
Exactly.
people and
Right.
and I can give a positive experience about it. And it's like I love menopause. It's the best time of my life.
Right.
But people don't know that when they're 40 and they're looking at it and they're being told you're getting ready to break. Oh my gosh. And it's going to be terrible. And,
Yes.
they need to be in a community with other people who've already gone through it. And you need support too, because, you're still a woman and you're still going through this experience. And you'll attract people from all sides, and you'll be there to help people that are really struggling. And those people that are really struggling will give you money in order to help them get
That's
through
so
that
true.
process.
Okay, now let me throw a wrench into that system.
Hmm.
So I'm also a hypnotist and I'm also a somatic intuitive trainer. I've been in somatic therapy before it was even a word. I don't know, 15 or 20 years now. Um, what I really want to be doing, it's all kind of convoluted. I wanted to write a book and I joined this group and somehow ended up writing this book. I knew I wanted to write a gut book, but I didn't know it was going to be on women's health. And so it sort of came together. And I almost feel like I don't want to put it out there because it's not, I feel like I'm going to give the wrong idea, but it kind of goes with everything. So what I really want to do, I do not want to be a death doula. That's not what I want to do. I would like to work with death doulas. I would really like to take my somatic intuitive training and my hypnotherapy training and work with end of life people who have a lot of regrets. So I feel like I'm in the right area because now I'm talking about menopause. So what comes after menopause? Death, apparently. But you know what I mean? So it's very, I'm finding it very difficult because I
It's two
have
different businesses, Karen.
it's, but I don't know what to do because my whole life has been health and wellness. I mean, I've
Mhm.
been, for 25 or 30 years, that's all I've done is gut health and, you know, all of that stuff. So there, I'm trying to figure out because I feel like I can still do it, which is why I came up with my Substack, Hey Lady, You Are Fascinating. And then my podcast is Go With Your Gut Beyond Menopause because I figured that that would tie in with the book. But I'm trying to figure out how I can bring in the emotional side of it as well because it's huge with
Mhm.
the menopause and stuff. But you're saying that it's two different things?
The death doula part is a different
That,
business.
yeah, no, yeah, I know.
But
And I
the
don't
emotional
want the
part
death
is
doula.
totally part of it. You just address it in content. And when you start talking about emotions and protocols and all those things, it's what we call the airplane.
Okay,
People are in a destination and they want to get to a different destination,
right.
which in your case is symptom-free menopause.
Okay,
They don't care how they get there. They don't care what it looks like. They just want to know it's not going to be painful and that it can happen quickly. And they're not going to have to give up a lot of stuff in their life.
okay. Well, that's the hard part. You can't be doing Starbucks double shots, whatever, lattes twice a day and expect to not have any hot flashes because, girl, that's causing your hot flashes. So that's the hard
So is
part too.
drinking alcohol and
Absolutely.
a whole
Yes.
bunch of other things. But you don't have to tell them that.
Right.
You can tell them the process is simple and easy because it is. But, and they don't have to give everything up today. But if they did, this is a reward and it's pretty dang good. I mean, I'm willing to give up alcohol for good sleep.
Yeah.
That's like, that was a no-brainer for me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
So,
so
you know,
that's
it's
the
just,
crossroads that I'm at. It's like I'm just trying to figure out. I've been known I mean, I am well known as an international, holistic nutritionist, and I mean, I've saved bowels, and I
mhm,
mean, I literally went from Crohn's disease into just gut health, and now going towards the hormone section of it because it just felt like a good
mhm.
transition. But it's also moving more into the emotional work because I am, and again, that's why I sort of stopped to work. Well, not sort of, I stopped working with clients because now I realize I can bring them to that physical wellness. But if they don't deal with the emotional side, they just go right back to where they are. So that's why I gave up on that part of it and just sort of moved into the women part of it. So,
I think community is going to be your best bet.
okay.
So let's talk to you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. And like I didn't have anything with menopause. I just kind of went through it and I sweat at night. That's the only thing I had is sweating at night. But so one thing I think that I get a lot of followers for is because I comment a lot.
Mhm,
So when I comment a lot, I notice that everybody's following me all of a sudden. So like I find topics that are like medically, with
mhm.
detoxing and the vaccine and everything. And and then that's what I think people are following me because of my comments. So I, I'm definitely big on the detoxing situation. And what was the question?
So your ideal client and
Oh, right.
also some ideas of things to monetize it with.
Yeah, so like with new moms, like when I'm in restaurants or I'm out and people have a baby, I'm like, how are you doing, with the vaccine schedule? And they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And, attracting them online, I'm going to have to be more creative because I'm not just bumping into them in a restaurant.
Mhm.
Um, because I have three granddaughters now, so it's like I'm not really hanging out with a lot of 20-year-olds. But but yeah, so that's like, I'm just going to have to be more creative and trying to find more people to jump on board. But I think that's a lot of word of mouth too. You know,
Mhm.
like all my friends know for like the last 40 years, I've been detoxing vaccines, and anybody who has anybody with a problem, they'll call me. So now when I have my website going and my podcast and everything, then I'll automatically get some more people coming in from that, I guess. That's kind of it, I guess. Right?
Okay. Jason wants to jump in and
Go ahead, Jason.
Just real quick, I because of your wisdom, and I think this would work for Karen or Jill. I mean, sometimes we think when we're older that we're not going to reach the young, and we're not around them as much. So that is
Right.
absolutely true. But I think there's a ton of mom groups that you would be able to go in and collaborate with, or
Right, right,
you,
right,
yeah, get in front of that audience because they need you and need
right,
that wisdom. So I think that would be a huge help in far or as
right.
far as
That's a
getting
great,
your traffic.
yeah, that's a great idea. Awesome. Yeah.
yeah, and I know that you have products, actual products that
Yes.
you
Yeah.
sell to people, so that it's a little different than
Yeah.
the offer sort of things.
Right,
Chris
right.
Christina, we kind of had this conversation last week, so if
Yes.
you want
So my ideal client is like myself. I am a busy, overwhelmed mom. I'm trying to fit everything in, but I'm also in menopause. And so I'm having to work on strength training. I'm having to work on making sure I get enough protein in and all the different things. And so my offers right now are one-on-one coaching. I do have the free community, but it's that freemium tier
to.
where I'll offer group coaching. And I've already put it out. I mean, it's on there. I just haven't like advertised it or anything.
Mhm.
But it's there for people to choose to come into. But I'll be building different courses on insulin resistance and hormones and PCOS and movement now that I'm certified in all of those lovely things. And so, yeah, I know that I struggle to meal prep to just have a system going, and I do have a system for that, but I know how hard it is when you're running everywhere and running everybody everywhere, but you're also, it's important to pour into our own cup.
Mhm.
And, but yeah, for my whole life, like I struggle with my body just being broken, or so I was told. But it was like, no, I had children just in a different way. But
Mhm.
it took me a long time to heal from that, just based on what other people would tell me, like family members, and so I've come a long way. But yeah, I've been so blessed um by using Term Healthy Mama that I want to use it to help other people and bless other families. So
I love that. And I love the way that you're setting it up because it is a community based um, plan that you're helping people with, and it's not just like, hey, look at me, I've already accomplished all of this. It's like, come on, come join the journey with me, and I have tools that can help you, and we're not we're not
yeah,
looking to be that hard body that's going to win any
no,
gym
I'm not
contest,
for
but we
yeah,
want
I'm
to
not
be
for
healthy and have muscle.
bodybuilding. I'm just for regaining the muscle that I've lost and to be strong. Like today, I was at church and it was before the kids came in and I fell like face forward down.
Oh no.
I tripped over a toddler and the toddler's fine, I'm fine, but like I'm really sore in my core. Um so trying to think of a way to still do strength training even though my core is really, really sore. This week is going to be a challenge, but I'm like, even if I just go walking and use a couple of dumbbells or something, but
Just move.
just move. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, just making sure I get that movement in. And it's
And
it's
don't
dedicated
don't
time for me too. So it goes on the calendar and it's like that is my workout times and
don't feel the need to push it either, because
yeah.
sometimes we get injured and then we just decide we're going to go and work out anyway, and it'll just make it worse. Give your
Exactly.
body grace. You've had
Oh yeah.
like,
I was like, I can at least go walking.
yeah, you
So
And
can. You can. So I love what you're doing. I love what all of you guys are doing. And I think you're providing real value in the marketplace and the world needs you. So keep speaking up. Keep refining your offers, keep making offers. And the biggest thing is letting people know that your offers are available, that if they want to do something with you, they know how to do something with you. I've met so many coaches who have beautiful things that they're doing, but they don't really have any or offers that they're making for people, so people don't know how to employ them.
and it's
So,
okay to build
mhm.
as people sign up too.
Yeah, it totally is. It's all a moving process. Nothing is ever set in stone. And while Karen, you're talking about two different businesses in my mind, there's nothing to say that I'm totally right or totally wrong. There might be something in there, and I'm not here to say don't do it. Just feel your way through it. And if it feels like it's going to be a good match for you, then and you find that people are wanting that, to definitely move in that direction. Okay? All right, y'all. We're gonna call it done.
this was
I,
really, it was good.
Nice to
I,
meet you all.
Thank you. It's
Yes.
nice to meet everyone.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was a
thank you.
lovely conversation, and we'll see y'all next week, the
Absolutely.
same time. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.